everybody. Russ Howard, the Canadian curling champion of 1987, and Clyde Austin of the Harlem Globetrotters. Our guests on your show. It's your call. We're going to have some fun tonight if you'll give us a call collect at area code 416. The number is 445-1811. And if you're in the Toronto area, simple. Just dial 445-1811.
The SRA Throwback Series came to the Monster Mile of the Dover International Speedway for the second race of the season as they were trying to top a very chaotic race at Daytona. Alex Peck was on the pole if Nicholas Shelton started in the number 2 spot, and Alex Peck got the advantage in the exit turn number 2, but as he went by the start finish line to start on number 2, Shelton got to the inside of Peck and he would take over the race lead, which is a very familiar spot for the driver number 12, which is technically the defending series champion. Alex Peck would struggle though early on as he was contending with a tight car as everyone else was, here getting past Michael Guerrilla and Chance Crum as he was falling back to just outside the top 5. But the handling characteristics can go the other way as well. Hence, for example, Jared Darling. On lap number 16 was bounding Delonte Ballard when out of turn 4. He gets big time loose going over the berm. He would save it but then continue on, but his troubles would not be over. As a lap later on, he slides up into James Lehman. Lehman spins in turn number 1. No one else would get into him. That would be the first caution of the race. And as the drivers would get to restart on lap number 23, an example of someone getting caught napping. Freddie De La Rosa started number 2 spot, but he got absolutely trounced by Nicholas Shelton. He would then lose the second and first spots to Michael Guerrilla and Bobby Zalinski, but he would continue on and eventually get those spots right back. There was a 4-car battle though a little later on for the 5th spot with David Schutt, Alex Pack, Caleb Eisenhower, and Kyle Putz as they were in some tight close racing in the top 5 positions in this race. Then later on, lap number 51, the exit turn number 4, Mark Newland and again James Lehman, they would hook on the exit turn number 4, go into the outside wall. Both of their days it would pretty much be over, and the second caution of the race would come out. And then, as it went through pit stops, Freddie De La Rosa came out in 3rd, but got caught speeding, and he would fall to the back of the field. And then on another restart, number 55, Michael Guerrilla was in 3rd, but Deja goes in and him and hits him, and he would slide up the hill, luckily make a great save and would continue on. Then Jesse Schwartz would hit the wall in the exit turn number 4. That caused a huge chain reaction. Everyone would squeak by, and they would continue on. And the guy we were just looking at there, Colton Davis, was making a charge up through the field. He was started in the 19th spot, and here he was getting by Alex Peck for the number 5 spot, showing his performance that early on in Daytona wasn't much of a fluke. And then as the field would come back for a restart after a crash in turn number 1, Alex Peck was trying to just get going, but Chance Crum gets up on the outside and literally bulldozes him off of 4, and Peck smashes hard into the wall, and the pole sitter was out of the race. Nicholas Shelton was still dominating, but here came Bobby Zalinski. He got very close to Nicholas Shelton, but wasn't able to mount much of a charge. And then on lap number 119, there was problems for Nicholas Caressel. He would get loose on the exit of turn number 4, and he would overcorrect and then go spinning into the inside wall, and the day was over for Nicholas Caressel carrying the colors of Grand Rapids, Michigan native Johnny Benson. And as they restart, lap number 124 was a little bit of, well, I wouldn't say physicality, but there was some chaos. Freddie De La Rosa was again caught napping. Femi Olak goes to the inside, they bang fenders. They would continue on though without much trouble. And then entering turn 3 on number 129, Cedric Hunter was in a very tight squeeze with Caleb Eisenhower and Chance Crum. Crum gets into him, and Hunter spins up and makes slightly hard contact with the outside wall. He would continue on. And then came a big point in the race. As they came in for pit stops, Eric Sable and Ariani would take 2 tires and they would inherit the race lead in second place. Or so they fought. Jeff Dodson, who was running in the back most of the race, would actually stay out on old tires, and he would inherit the race lead near the closing stages. But then as Dodson tried to get going, he spun the tires, causes a checkout. Derek Bordeaux hits Bobby Zalinski, and that forces a huge pileup in turn 4 that are coming for the green flag. That would involve David Shutt, Freddie Del Rosa, Nick Northrup, Femi Ola, and Chance Crum, among a few others, in this pileup on the exit of turn number 4. And then as the field would eventually get going on lap number 136, Dodson's lead would not last very long. He got caught by Eric Sable on the outside. He slides up into Sable, makes a great save. And all the same, but Eric Sable would take over the race lead. Then lap 149, Nicholas Shelton got to Sable. He blocked him, and Shelton moved him up out of the way. And then Sable, trying to stay with him, gets into him into turn 2, and Sable clobbers the outside retaining wall. He would keep it going, but that would prove as Nicholas Shelton would come to the exit of turn number 4. He would get his second win in a row in the SRA Throwback Series at Dover National Speedway. But behind them, Caleb Eisenhower and Austin were battling for a top 10 spot. They banged off at turn 2, both hit the outside wall, and Jesse Schwartz would take advantage of this, and he would get the top 10 position. The final results were Nicholas Shelton, Ariani 2nd, Bobby Zalinski in 3rd, Derek Bordeaux 4th, Nick Northrup in 5th, Colton Davis in 6th, Michael Gurley was 7th, Cedric Hunter was 8th, Jesse Schwartz was 9th, and Caleb Eisenhower around the top 10. And the point standings for this series was also a throwback to the 90s versions of NASCAR. So the points are going to look a little bit different. Nicholas Shelton is the point leader by 35 over Nick Northrup. There's Michael Guerrilla, Ari Adi, Austin Roberts, Bobby Zalinski all tied for their respective positions. Delonte Ballard, Avis Ledak was 8th, Kyle Petz was 9th, and Bobby Chain around the top 10. We'll take a break and come back with the SRA Gen 6 Series Slick Daddy at Charlotte.
It has a 358 cubic inch engine, a 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, a wheelbase of 112 inches, and weighs in at 3,400 pounds. It's the brand new NASCAR Super Truck, and it really hauls. See the NASCAR Super Truck Series by Craftsman on TNN Motorsports 1995.
People say I'm a show-off, that I got a big mouth. Sometimes I get out of control. That old Heath and me, we do all right. NHRA on TNN Motorsports, it doesn't get any closer.
The SRA Slick Daddy Gen 6 Series came to the Charlotte Moore Speedway in the daytime configuration, and after Brett Buncari's stunning win at the Daytona National Speedway, people were wondering if maybe he would have something for an encore. It would be Alex Peck on the pole with Benjamin Nelson starting second, Freddie De La Rosa, Caleb Eisenhower, and Jared Darling around the top 5, as the field would go for 130 laps around the Charlotte Moore Speedway under the daytime configuration, which is known for its handling characteristics. But it didn't take long for action to get going, because they were coming out the exit of turn number 2. There would be a big crash behind them. As Blake Freeman got loose on the exit, gets into Avis Ledak. Matt Simpson had nowhere to go, hits Ledak, and then goes for a funny looking ride as the walls of fixes went nowhere. And Eric Cummings had nowhere to go and plowed in the side and sent him barreling. And that was the first yellow of the race. And then after that restart, on number 9, Alex Peck was actually under attack from Freddie De La Rosa, and De La Rosa was actually looking to make a move in the exit turn number 2, but again behind him there was a crash down at turn number 2. This time would involve David Fish getting loose on turn 2, blindsiding Derek Bordeaux, and the defending series champion Femi Ola for the second race in a row gets involved in the crash. Not a good start for Femi Ola's title defense. And then when things actually got going, lap number 19, Eric Sable would get up to Alex Peck to the inside. Him in turns 3 and 4, those two would battle it out for quite a few laps. Sable would take the lead just barely at the start-finish line, but Peck would actually get by him using the outside to his advantage. Then a couple laps later, Bobby Zalinski would use that outside line to his advantage, getting to the outside of Alex Peck. Entering turn number 3, Peck would try to hold his ground for a long while, but Bobby Zalinski would eventually take the lead on the exit turn number 4. Then former NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series driver Dylan C. Jones, making his first appearance in SRA in season competition, would get to the outside of Peck in turn 1 and 2, and he would take over the number 2 spot from the driver of the Amsoil number 59. And then a couple laps later, lap number 24, things go from good to bat for Jones. Freddie De La Rosa gets into Dylan Jones. He would slide and make an incredible save, not wrecking the car. But that would take Dylan Jones out of the top 10. He would eventually fall all the way to the number 16 spot. De La Rosa, looking to put that accidental hit behind him, would actually get up to Bobby Zalinski. He would make the pass in the exit turn number 2. But then Bobby Zalinski would actually come right back on a crossover, got to the inside of De La Rosa in the middle of turns 3 and 4. He would reclaim the race lead just barely, and De La Rosa would stay right with him so he would get to the start-finish line. Those two would then go side by side, entering turn number 1 and 2, but eventually De La Rosa would get a good run in the exit turn number 2, and he would reclaim the race lead, and he would hold it to the first set of green flag pit stops. And after those green flag pit stops, Zalinski would inherit the lead, but then here came Nicholas Shelton. He caught up to Zalinski after the pit stop, and those two have a long duel for the lead. Didn't have his share of issues though. Derek Bordeaux, a lap car, cost him. Shelton to go high. Zalinski then hits the outside wall, and they would still be side by side next to turn number 4. They would then split the lap car of Abbott. Zledek and Zalinski would eventually hold on to the top spot, but Shelton was still not through yet. As a couple laps later, at number 63, Shelton would get to the inside of Zalinski once again in the middle of turns 1 and 2. He would reclaim the race lead, but behind him, the Daytona winner, Brett Buncari, who was actually a lap car, got to the inside of Zalinski, entering turn number 3, and it may have thrown Zalinski off because Buncari would make the pass on Zalinski and then eventually get by Shelton to get one of his laps back, and that would split up the lead duel. Well, ending the second set of green flag pit stops. And after that second set of green flag pit stops, Alex Peck would inherit the lead as he was on a fuel strategy run, hoping to maybe save enough fuel to make the end of the race, and also perhaps hoping for a caution as well, so he would actually use this strategy to his advantage and stay in the race lead. But unfortunately, his gamble would not pay off, as with 9 laps to go, here came Nicholas Shelton on the exit turn number 2. He would easily blow by Alex Peck in the 59, and Nicholas Shelton would take over the race lead despite Peck leading the most laps. And Nicholas Shelton would go from the back to the front, and he would get his first win of the SRA Slick Daddy Gen 6 Series season at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Final results were Nicholas Shelton with the win. Bobby Zalinski would get second, Colton Davis in third, Alex Peck falls to fourth, Davis Judd fifth, Ariani sixth, Connor Anton was seventh, Delonte Ballard, Benjamin Nelson ninth, and Dylan C. Jones recovers from that slide to get a top 10 finish. And in the point standings, Connor Anton will become the new points leader by only by a few points over Brett Buncari. He and Ariani are tied for second. Alex Peck and Jared Darling are tied for fourth. David Washington, Jonathan Shipman, Nicholas Sheldon, and Benjamin Nelson would be tied for 8th. And there was a tie for 10th between Colton Davis and Nicholas Caressel.